Thank you for taking a look at another one of our videos. We are going to take a look at Michael Maier today, I believe Rosicrucian, and more importantly, one of his publications, which shares a relationship with many other publications, which if you browse through the website, you will get to see numerous examples of what I'm going to show you here today. And the first thing we're going to take a look at is publication for Atalanta, and it's Emblemata, The Secrets of Nature. And you can see it's quite a very interesting title page, and it does hold some symbolism, but it wouldn't be fitting to discuss this at this point. A lot of this symbolism we will address again at a later point, but we are going to take a look at some of the pages in here and some of his more important emblems that have been discussed a lot throughout history, and we're going to have a different take on it, applying all the same rules that we have in previous examples, specifically errors. And the first thing I would really like to take a look at here is this emblem 21, and it's on page 93, and this is basically like the, how they put it, like squaring the circle. This gentleman here is hard at work, and it's been described a lot like he's squaring the circle and things, but there's something just not sitting right with this page. And if we can take a look, you can see it's printed offset. Everything about it is just wrong. You can see nothing's straight, nothing's right, and this is what made me concentrate on this page, because I have seen this before, and this is where we're going to take a bit of a closer look at. So what I've done, just to highlight the problems that we've got here, if we look on the bottom left corner, what we can see is the man has got a heptagon here, or close to it, but something's not right on the right hand side. I'll just zoom in for us here. We'll get a closer look at this. Something's just not right here. And if we look at the star in the circle, where it's basically got the two triangles, the up and the down triangle, which is another hint, as you'll get to see, you can see one of the corners doesn't even make the circle. So if this was drawn correctly, that corner would hit the circle. And then we can see he's got a square here as well, which is not quite right. So this person seems to have a bit of a problem here. And if we look, I've highlighted a perfect square on the page. You can see in the corner as it runs down, and you can see it's not square. The gentleman, despite having all these tools, has not managed to draw a perfect square. I'm not talking about the person who done the carving, I'm talking about the symbolism of the carving. So if we're going to take a closer look at this here, because there's just something not right. So the first thing I'm going to highlight here is this gentleman's compass. This is quite important here, and it's probably the most important part, because if I take a seven-sided heptagon and I place it here, what we get to see is, if I just place a centre line to help you see this, and see the centre line coming through the heptagon, it follows the length of his compass, and the angle of the heptagon, which the angles are 128 and 4/7, we can see the angle of the heptagon follows exactly. So what this gentleman is putting up here is what I like to think is the seven-sided tomb, which we have been hunting for Brother I.O. Now, as you can see here, as the centre line takes in the two tips, everything seems to just match perfectly, and we can see it hits the circle at each point. So our heptagon, using the centre that's provided here with his compass, we are able to place a seven-sided heptagon inside that circle. Now, just to make things clearer, I'll start to remove some of the additional lines. Oh, I think we're going to need that. Now, I'm going to highlight the red triangle here. And if we look, as triangle hits the circle, and doesn't hit the circle here. It doesn't hit the heptagon either. So it's a case of perhaps something doesn't quite fit. So if I take another centre line here, which we just had, which runs through, you can see it does come into the centre. And additionally, here is the centre line for the red triangle running through. Now, if we have a look here at the bottom, how he's got the star here, and it's one triangle pointing down, one triangle pointing up. And what's going to come into play later is a very specific pointing of the hand. But for this drawing, we can see our gentleman is pointing down. We have a triangle pointing up. So if I take a copy of this triangle, the exact dimensions, and I just turn it 180 degrees, as in we still take in all the centres, what we get is something quite remarkable. The triangle, or the green triangle now, hits the heptagon, hits the circle, and hits the heptagon. Unlike before, when we had the circle, and nothing. So this gentleman here is not trying to square a circle. He is trying to get this V and V, the two triangles, to fit the heptagon. And this is what he's basically managed to achieve here. Each of the corner fits the heptagon or the circle. We have basically sorted or fixed this drawing for the gentleman. So you might think that we are a little bit jumping to conclusions here, but what if I could show something else at the bottom that helps make this make sense? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight sort us in green for you so you can see this. It's actually tum lapis otus erit with Latin, but we are able to extract the two words of sort us. Now, just to the right hand side of this, the erit is a simple anagram of right. So this phrase sort us is two meanings. The first meaning being fix the drawing, like the gentleman is trying to do, which we have managed to complete. And the second meaning for sort us right is to change this E-R-I-T to R-I-T-E to form the word right. So sort us right. So this is a little bit of a helping hand for us, but there's also some more. I'm going to remove the sort us right, and if you notice, we also form another word, rosy. So obviously now in my mind, I'm thinking rosy cross, and the fact we have to sort us right. But what if there's something else? Rosy palm. Now a palm could mean the palm of your hand. It could mean a palm tree. It's two very specific meanings. But if we also take a look at the bottom, we have a simple anagram of palm. P-A-L-M. Now what if there was another emblem in this book that actually had something to do with a rosy palm? Let's take a look. Now, if we take a look at this emblem found in the same book, this is now on page 173, and 173 is very suspicious to me. Taking geometria, like I've highlighted many times before, 1717 is the letter R. The remaining 3 is the letter C for RC. 173 is going to be something that you'll see throughout. But what it's highlighting here is Venus and Adonis. And it's shown Adonis is killed by the boa. But if we have a look here, what we see is a lady holding her hands up that has got something on them. Now what I can do, I can come to the translation, and what we have at the top is Adonis is killed by a boa, to whom Venus hasting, as in Venus is coming running to, tinges the roses with her blood. So rosy palms, as you can see, these are the roses, they are darker, our palms are raised up and they are bloody. She has rosy palms. Now, we could spend a year working on this book, but what would be so important about Venus and Adonis? Now, if we come back, Venus and Adonis is William Shakespeare's first publication. Venus and Adonis. Now, as you'll see if we look through more videos, we are going to try to do something here. So the first thing I'm going to highlight, we're going to go through the full stop here and the full stop here. Again, this dots is something we're going to see in multiple examples throughout the website, and I really hope you enjoy them. I'm going to highlight a second line. So we're going from the full stop here to the dot in the eye. Now that angle there is 128 degrees and 4/7. Now what you see is this red line. As you can see, it is in alignment. It's just sometimes a little bit difficult to place things based on the resolution exactly on the exact spots that would suit us. But as you can see, it is in alignment. Sometimes we just have a little problem. Now when I place this on here and I take in the only dot here in the centre about the anchor of hope, which is a symbolism that we see many times, onto this dot, what it does highlight for me is certain corners. Now, if I take this side, this is saying LOSE for lose B. Okay, lose B. So we're going to lose the letter B. And if we notice, it doesn't travel through any other letters or any other words apart from the B. And the instruction is for us to lose B. Now if we come to the other side, we have the word less C. Other words, let's remove the less C. Not just the C, but the whole saying, less C. So if we lose B, less C, it only travels through two additional letters. The letter I and the letter O. For Brother I-O. Could we be looking at the tomb of Brother I-O here? But is there any connection to why we have arrived here? What is the connection to what we have just done? Now, if we take a look here at the corner, we have N-E-O, neo, as in a translation to the word new. And it makes of sign of new, or new sign of I-O. This seven-sided tomb is the new sign of the Rosy Cross, basically. But what else is here? What is the connection to what we've just done? Now, if we look here, we have the word white. And then next to it, we have the word grey. Quite suspicious. If we put a line through these, we get R-E-D for red, rosy. Now, further to that, running backwards, L-E-I-F, pronounced leaf. So now we have red leaf, just like we've seen with the lady with the rosy palms running through the roses who were stained red, which would be a red leaf. Now, what is also quite entertaining here is this is published in 1593. And if we remember, sorry, we need to come to here. This is on page 93. So what we're beginning to see is a connection here between London, Michael Maier, and the continental Europe, basically, and Michael Maier visiting England round about the time of his publication. Again, have a little look on the website and you'll get to see more about this information. So what I'm going to do, I'll just remove little bits here just to make things a little bit easier to see. Now, to help explain some things, we can also highlight the word get, G-E-T, running backwards. And then we also have the word hit, get, hit. Now we can also highlight the other word next to it, hew, which means to hack or cut. So what we're beginning to get here is basically either cut the letters, or are they talking about why we have the red rosy palms? Now, what I've shown is 2 publications that require in-depth work and study to help extract the information. The information that I've provided here today will be enough to enter these publications and extract the messages that Michael Maier has decided to keep hidden from public. So if anybody feels like helping out, please come along the trail of the green man. Your time and your skills are greatly needed. I look forward to seeing you there. And if you can't, feel free, make a little donation on the website and help me keep the lights on here at the Trail of the Green Man. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Thank you.